All right, well, first thing we were going to do is I'm going to show you my backyard. We're going to get in the water, but we're here at South Bondi and the waves are coming directly hitting these south rocks. So I think we're going to head down to the north end where it's a lot clearer, a lot flatter. I'm going to show you some fish. We're going to go for a dive and then I'm going to cook up a wicked Salsa Verde marinated sand whiting. It's going to be epic. The sun's out, a little bit of surf, the water's warm. Ew. Got spoons and everything, didn't we? Okay, so the first step is we're going to get our fish on. So we're going to cook our fish. Once it's cooked, we're going to turn the barbecue off. We're going to cover it in salsa verde, close the lid and let it rest. And while that's resting, we're going to make our, we're going to open up our sea urchin, make our little lettuce cups, and then we're going to finish it all off. It's going to be unreal, super tasty, and it's really, really easy. So first step, hot barbecue. So literally straight on, lid down. Fish is going to take maybe 5 minutes at the most. So we've got 5 minutes to make the salsa verde. And salsa verde is super simple. It's just a green salsa. You know, my version has Dijon mustard, anchovies, capers, lots of citrus through it, some garlic and herbs. That's the way I like to make it. If you've got a different way to make it, then by all means go crazy, do your own. But this is mine. So first step is we're just going to chop up some parsley. To that, we're going to pick some basil leaves and do exactly the same, just roughly chop it up.
Do you use the stalks of the basil leaves?
I'm not going to use stalks, I'm just going to use the leaves itself. Just chop them up exactly the same as the parsley. Okay, so that's been there for about 4 minutes maybe. We'll just flip them over. Give the other side a little bit of a blast on the barbecue. And then we'll douse it in that gorgeous salsa verde we're making. Okay, next step, we're just going to add some finely chopped capers, some anchovies, garlic, half a Spanish onion, a little bit of chili, and a tablespoon of Dijon mustard. Okay, last and definitely not least is a real generous amount of citrus. You know, usually you chop this super fine, maybe even use a food processor, and you add olive oil as well, maybe some white wine vinegar, but this is my version. You know, it's super rough, Bondi Harvest style, on the rocks. I'm going to use citrus instead. Citrus obviously and fish go really well together, and that's going to moisten all those herbs, and it's going to make it a really nice acidic hit to it. So, you know, I'm going to use half an orange, we're going to go half a lemon, and half a lime. You can always add more later if we need to. All right, so that's pretty much it. What I'm going to do now is get my hands in there, they're clean. I've washed them in the salt water, and get a good mix, sort of good little squeeze together, almost like you're making a slaw. And you're squeezing it all together to break it up. You know, force those flavors together, that citrus and that chili. Oh, someone's gonna get hurt. Okay, so the fish is cooked all the way through. I've turned my barbecue off. You know, and like you rest a steak, it's sometimes, and majority of times, a good reason to rest your fish as well. It lets the protein sort of relax and settle down. So while that's happening, I'm going to cover it with all these flavors, because as it's resting, it's going to take in all those flavors that we put through our salsa verde. So you're literally just going to, all on top. So next step is going to show you how to open up a sea urchin. If you don't have sea urchin, don't worry about it, leave it out. It's still going to taste awesome. I'll show you how to do this. Usually you use scissors and you cut around it, but I don't have scissors with me, so I'm going to use a knife. I'll show you another way. Hand down, nice and flat, just bang it into it. And that's just salt water. And then you're going to open him up. That's what you're after. That is your sea urchin roe. Sea urchin eggs, those little guys you're after. And like I said, it's sort of really fresh, sort of very salty, but like tastes like the sea, but it's really beautiful and refreshing. So You know, like I said, if you had a pair of scissors, which I don't, you know, you just cut around it and you wouldn't make such a damn mess. But, you know, that method works as well. So that's been 5 minutes, it's ready, it's flaking off the bone, which is exactly what we want, because what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna grab a nice little iceberg lettuce here. Just gonna take the end off. Yeah, this is an awesome way to eat things if you're gluten-free and you know, don't want to use bread. You know, you just use little lettuce cups. Sort of fresh, crisp. You can use cabbage, you can use cos. Any sort of lettuce that has like a cup shape is probably going to be best, and with a bit of stability to it, so it doesn't sort of fall through and make a mess, not too much of a mess anyway. Put them on the chopping board. Straight off the bone. So we'll take that flesh, popping in our little lettuce cup here. Awesome citrus, you know, all those wicked herbs. Anchovies and garlic and chili. Put a little bit more on top. You've got a squeeze of lime juice, sea urchin on top. How awesome does that look? Salsa Verde baked Sam Whiting. You know, we've got our sea urchin caught off the rocks like 10 minutes ago, that fresh. Look, if you like our recipes, make sure you jump on, subscribe. We've got epic photos on Instagram. I got some wicked information for you on Facebook, so check it out, and we'll see you next week. You.